Hello, mate. Welcome to the Ground Zero podcast.
Hello, man. How's it going?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really good. So, what's this? Like the third time we've attempted to get you on?
I don't know. I have quite a fluid life, and things do seem to change a lot.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, probably the best way to be in it.
Yeah. Do you know? I'm sort of. I'm after a bit of stability and consistency now. I'm really wanting to build a solid base, but it's not going to be happening anytime soon.
To be fair, I think that's what most military guys want is a structure.
Yeah,
so we're constantly told what to do, where to go. Be at the armory for 3 o'clock to leave for fucking 8 o'clock.
Yeah. I think structure, routine. It's like we're creatures of habit, so it's definitely an important thing to have that thing that consistent routine. It provides a lot. It's one of the things I didn't realize that I'd lose when I left the military. I was everyone's focused on, right, I'm not going to be getting paid every month. But yeah, you sort of don't really contemplate that you're not going to have the structure. And then when you're left to your own devices, you can very easily just get sort of cognitive fatigue because you're trying to make everything you're sinking a lot of attention into.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
It's a weird thing,
and it's one of those ones that sort of sneaks up on you as well. It was the same with me when I first left. It took me, well, to be fair, it was only a couple of months before I got my first job, which was an awful one. I did security for the Kent training school for the police. It was a bizarre place to work, but I was literally just walking around doing nothing. But in the time period that I went from leaving the military to that, I was like, what am I doing? I need someone to tell me what to do in the morning. Like, what time have I got to go for breakfast?
do you know what? This year I'm coming like this close to actually getting a job. I keep thinking about it.
Getting an actual job.
Yeah.
What I didn't realize about you guys until I read a bit through on your website, your bio. I didn't realize you were in the army first. Didn't know that.
Oh yeah. That was. Do you know what? That is a daft thing, really, because it was mainly because I didn't think I was good enough for the Marines, and so instead of trying, I just wrote it off because I was young. I didn't have that confidence. I thought, oh, the Marines is too hard. I'll go that direction, and I guess the people around me at the time, and they were moving in that direction, and it just seemed that was an easier option.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until it was like I did that tour of Iraq in 2004, and I remember looking around at the people around me, and I just kind of felt, no, I want to do more than this. I want to,
I got you. Yeah, it's as though it was like a to be a bit cheesy, a bit more of a higher calling. Like, this isn't the role I'm supposed to be doing. I should be doing something more.
Yeah, I mean, it was two sides as well, because obviously there were times when I think I was 19 when I was in Iraq, and I was a mini-me gunner on the Snatch Land Rovers in Basra city centre, and we got IDF'd a lot, getting attacked, and I just remember there were times when I was looking around going, what am I doing? Where am I? Like, I was so naive as to where I'd gone.
Yeah.
So there were times when it was difficult, but yeah, there were other times when I felt I want to give the Marines a shot.
Yeah. I speaking of IDF, I remember my first attack. We were in Basra, and we hadn't been in on the ground for long, and I literally was going with me mate Ginge, and we went off to the internet cabin just to send a couple of emails on rascal fucking MSN. Went in there with all the Yanks, and obviously their fucking siren starts going. I'm like, it's just a test, isn't it? Next thing you know, you hear the fucking ground shake. Look, I've never moved so fast in my life. I was under the fucking table, and I was like, fuck, we're in the shit here. And then I was like, right, cool, we've done that now. And it's as though the more you got them during the tour, the less bothered you were. Like, the amount of times that it was going off, and I was just like, yeah, okay, here's another one.
It's either going to hit you or it isn't.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I remember saying to my missus, And I said to me, Mrs., she was like, do you not get scared towards the end? I was like, no, it's just a common occurrence. Like, so if it hits the tent, I'm dead. So
it's a weird thing. I remember when we took over from 2-para in Afghan in 2008, and I think I'd gone out as like an advance party, and I was on patrol with the paras, and I remember obviously the IED threat had gone up massively, and I was just watching the bloke in front of me as I was watching where he was putting his feet. I was covering my arcs, and I was really, really, really sort of alert, but with the heat and with the kit and the time out on the ground and then the scrapping, I realized you can't operate at such a high level sustainably. Like, I can't be watching where he's putting his feet. I can't be covering my arcs. I can't be watching over here and doing all the stuff I need to be doing, because it's too fatiguing. And it's like, if I tread on something, I tread on something, and that's it. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. And I think you have to accept the situation.
It's funny how little tendencies like that creep in throughout the tour. Like you said, the amount of kit that you carry, the weight of it for a start. I remember wearing my kit once. We went up 3 Mile Mountain in Calf. We came back. I was like, oh, I need to weigh this fucking kit. This is ridiculous. With because I had a UGL on my rifle, all my bomb, all the other crap that you have to carry for no reason. And I remember putting it down. It was 135 pounds. That's like a 9-stone person. And I was like, I'm carrying that up a mountain. And I still remember today, our boss was like, we need to go up there. There could be a threat up there. And I went, there's no threat up that mountain. There's no threat up the mountain. We need to make sure they're not. Why would they be laying IEDs up a mountain? They're not going to do that. You want to go up there to take some alley photos. We know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's mad. The weight's ridiculous. Yeah, like I had that little. It sort of went out of service. I think a 51 mil mortar, so just a small mortar tube, little base plate, and a few bombs.
Yeah.
But man, like I'll walk around London now with a day sack with a bit of magic kit in it, and I'll be dripping in my head like, oh, this bag weighs a ton. And it's like, no way, I could no way near carry the weight that I used to carry.
No, I know exactly what you mean, mate. I do it every now and then at work. I've got a nice little route that I can do a little fucking tab round. So I'll put on my weighted vest, 10 kilos. I think I've got another 10 or so kilos in my day sack. I put it on. I'm like, this is fucking heavy. This is really heavy. And I remember like doing the different fitness tests, and they're about that weight, if not a bit more. And I was like doing a speed march at that fucking level. Like, and I was like, why am I so hanging? I'm hanging out. I've only done 4K. This is ridiculous. No 5 mile of death. Put it that way.
Oh dear.
One thing I do want to like sort of touch on, because I read it again, going through your bio, was coming to grips with the passing of your dad. So obviously I've spoke about it briefly on the podcast. Like nobody really teaches you how to deal with grief. How did that sort of like impact you? Because obviously you were going through SBS selection at that time, were you? Or
I put off so like I'd put in for the SF Medic course, and that got deferred from because I went home on compassionate leave. Losing my dad was had the biggest impact. It's the one thing that's had the biggest impact on my life and the direction of my life. And that's the same, especially for my little brother as well. We lead sort of parallel lives to some extent. Nothing prepares you for it. At the time when my dad got ill, or was diagnosed that he was ill, I'd just come back from Norway, and I was really, at the time I was really itchy to deploy, and I just wanted to go anywhere. And I'd spoke to this guy on camp saying, look, just send me anywhere. And I was meant to be going out to Mali to teach the Malian army out there. I'd found out that my dad was ill, and I was just doing the last bits. It was my last day on camp before I went up to 4-5 to join the lads up there. And I spoke to my sergeant major, and he was looking at me, and he's like, you know, what's the matter? And then as soon as I tried to sort of mention it, everything's cool, but my dad's ill. I kind of wobbled a little bit, and he's like, all right, before you leave camp, just touch base with the welfare officer. And obviously this was the first time I'd ever gone down to the welfare officer. It's like a big stigma attached to going there in the first place. Like, no one wants to go down there. I went down, and again, it's just the same sort of thing. Like, right, let's get it straight. I'm okay, but this is the situation. And literally, I just broke. And the guy said, look, let's just hold you back from this deployment. We can put someone else in place. Let's send you home on compassionate leave. And so my dad's situation was, he was diagnosed with cancer, and it was, the time it was diagnosed, it was spread throughout his body. So they didn't know what the primary cause was, and it was I think 10 weeks until he passed, and it was super hard. And it's been only very recently, I was with one of the lads, an SB lad, and he sort of mentioned to me and my bro, he's like, I can see that you've got an issue here that needs resolving. And so I think that was maybe last month, and I've really just tried to kind of be open about talking about it. It was, that's good, I was thinking, it was 2013, so 9 years. It shouldn't be this raw. It shouldn't be this hard for me to talk about it. So yeah, my dad passed, and that changed my perspective on life, on what was important, and what I was doing.
That's awesome. Well, it's not awesome, but it is awesome that you've now come to the stage where you're like, I need to talk about it. So I've said to a few people that have lost close relatives and loved ones and whatnot, and I was like, we're not taught how to deal with it. Most of the time we'll try and be strong and bottle it up and go, no, I'm going to deal with it. So and so wouldn't want me to be like this. But in turn, it's like, you've got to take every day as it comes. Some days you're going to be all right. Some days you're just going to be in fucking shit state. I've been there, where I've been fine. Oh, it seems to have passed now. And then the next day, fucking hell. And then it gradually,
song comes on the radio.
Yeah, it could be anything.
And it just breaks
and you're like, fuck. Like, one of my ones is one more light by Linkin Park. It's about obviously his friend that took his own life, and then, you know, that comes on, and I think about one of my pals took his own life, and I'm like, oh, fucking hell. So I thought it's like, Jesus. But every day is a new day, and you got to just take it in your stride. And if you're having a shit day, you're having a shit day. It's not like it's supposed to be nice, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, life doesn't stop. Like, it does just keep going. I think that's where, having structure, having other things in place,
definitely
keep you going. It's not good to sit there. And I think, I mean, obviously we lost lads out on tour. I've carried lads back who've been killed, and I remember like looking, like, as I'm carrying them on a poncho, just sort of looking at them thinking, what is going on here? I had some like hard times, and losing my dad, which is one of the most inevitable things that's going to happen in life, really, really hit me so hard. And it's like you say, no one gives you a little heads up and says, right, you're going to lose your parents. This is the natural way of things. Like, it's a lot better that he didn't carry my coffin because I've been killed on tour. Like, this is the natural way of things. But no one gives you a heads up and says, listen, this is really going to knock you. This is going to be hard. You know, but I don't know. I mean, maybe you couldn't prepare anyone for that.
No, I think you're right on that aspect of it. I think you can give them the little nudge to say, look, this is going to be shit for however long. It could be shit forever. It depends how you take it. But I think it's just being there for them in those moments of grief, because everybody will grieve differently. Some people might just shrug off and be all right. Other people could be fucking completely broken for months, years. They may never recover from it. It's a tricky subject, and it's a hard subject to talk about, which I'm actually quite chuffed that you've actually been quite open chatting about that.
If we chatted last year,
I kind of just fucking kind of just sprung that on you there. I didn't even think. I thought,
there have been. Do you know what? I think it was the very first podcast I did. The guy it was with a guy called Mark Whittle on the Take Flight podcast, and he mentioned my dad, and we were sitting opposite each other, and literally, like, as soon as I went to talk about it, I started welling up, and I could see him welling up, and it was you can kind of hear it on the podcast, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was very hard, and like I say, it was only a month ago that one of the guys said to me, you've got some issues with this. You need to, and so then I've just tried to really relax around it and to be open about it, and to talk about it as well. So, and to try and talk about it unemotionally, like this is what happened. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I sprung that one on you.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks.
You're welcome. Good morning to you. Happy Thursday.
Yeah. Do you know, I was trying to. I had like a little a point on that. I was just trying to get it, but I think it's faded away. But I think, so I've got a friend who's in the situation now. His mum has been diagnosed, and so, like, I'm just trying to be mindful of every now and then just checking in with him, but not being too heavy, not, because I think this is probably the first kind of traumatic thing that he's had to deal with. I know he likes to drink a beer, and and I'm just saying,
that's one of the ones you got to watch as well. Don't go too crazy with those beverages. Like,
I think it's just try. Like, I know that if I drank a load of beer, ate a pizza, stayed up late night watching shit TV, I would feel rubbish the next day. Yeah. So it's just trying to do the little things to try and keep. You don't want to be doing anything that's going to be making you feel loads worse, but then also you do need a bit of a blowout.
Oh, I agree.
You do need some escapism.
Yeah.
We need emotional state change, and for me, where I'm at now, I still get lost in my head a lot. I'll try and I was in the River Swale this morning, and I feel loads better for that. Like, I will try and get that emotional state change from in the cold water, breathing, meditation.
But that was a shock to the system.
It was fresh. Yeah.
Marines
as opposed
crazy.
To well, I try and get it from something that's like a better source than, let's say, alcohol, which is it's a guaranteed emotional state change, but then it has got there's a little bit more of a negative impact on that as well.
I think alcohol is at some times it's fucking awesome because you're having a good time, you're having a good party, but it is a devil in disguise. Like, I like a tipple, but if I have too much of one particular drink, it's usually whiskey's my drink. I can either go from being the life and soul of the party to an absolute cunt. Like, just that's the best way to fucking label it. Just an absolute cunt. I'm either arguing with the missus or trying to have a fight with someone in a bar or something like that, which is one of the reasons why I try and stay away from whiskey when I'm in the pub. Because I'm like,
well, there's sort of two good reasons to try and stay away from it.
In the shed, I'm all right. I'll get it, and I'll fucking get in the house. I'm a bit pissed, just fall asleep snoring. But if in the pub, if I've had too many of them and someone says the wrong thing, I'm like, but whatever. Do you know what I mean? Where did the love for magic come in?
Do you know what? I think
that's got to be the big question, isn't it? I have got the Magic Marine on.
How old are you?
I am 35.
So when you were a little lad, 5 years old or something, like I bet you enjoyed magic back then. Like when I was a kid, I liked magic. It sort of interested me, but also back then it was your Paul Daniels, and I was one of the smallest in the year. I'm born July the 30th, so I was one of the youngest, one of the smallest in the year, and I didn't really want to be drawing any other attention of being weird with doing magic.
Yeah,
so I liked it as a kid, but I kind of left it alone. You know, I sort of got a little magic set and I dabbled a little bit, but I didn't do much with it. It wasn't until I was probably 22, I was in the Marines, I was up at 4-5 Commando, and I saw a guy doing some sleight of hand magic. And then this is the first time I'd seen sleight of hand as a skill set. Up until that point, I'd seen guys performing magic tricks with trick cards. But to actually see a skill set, sleight of hand, where it was a normal deck of cards, yet one card was visibly changing into another card. And I was like, how is this happening? This is ridiculous. This is the best thing I've seen. And I got really, really hooked on it. And I started practicing with the cards. And this guy was super helpful. He gave me a book that taught me card handling, how to fan a deck of cards, how to shuffle, some basic sleight of hand tricks. And it's one of those things that I just kept coming back to. And I guess the military is a good place for honing a skill because you have time to be able to practice. The cards would be sat on the windowsill, and then every now and then I'd pick them up and start, you know, trying to do a fan, trying to do some cool shuffling. And then I'd say to lads, hey, check this out. And I'd try and do a trick on them. And over my career in the military, I guess I just naturally progressed just through repetition. And then it got to the point where I was asked to go around the tables at the officers' mess. They're having a charity dinner or a Christmas party. I started getting asked to do events. And then when I was getting asked to do events, I thought, well, I need to kind of put together better routines. And then I was actively searching for better stuff and watching other magicians. So it was kind of something I just kept dipping back into. And when I left, that's really when people were asking if I could come do some magic, and I was free to be able to say yes to everything. And so then I just started, and I'd worked out in the Pyrenees a little bit at a sort of this an ex-bootneck had set up an adventure centre out there, and I performed magic out there, just showing the guests we had. And as we were talking late into the night, one of the guys was asking me, he was interested about the Marines, he was asking me about Iraq, about Afghan, and it was an observation that he made that I was unaware of. But he said, every time you're talking about Afghan or whatever, you're cutting and shuffling the cards. And I realized that I must have used magic throughout my career as a little bit of an outlet of cutting and shuffling, and kind of this itchy angst inside me from
like an anxiety tick. It's sort of I get what
and I guess you access almost like a flow state where I would be trying to practice, you know, flicking a card, catching it, spinning it around, and I would sit there, and then after X amount of time I'd look up and it'd be dark outside and it'd be the middle of the night, and I'd been lost in that. So I think it was, you know, it was kind of therapeutic. It was probably more beneficial to me at that time than I give credit to it.
That's awesome. That is awesome, to be fair. It's amazing when you get involved in something that puts you into that, like you said, flow state. And gets you focusing on something else rather than anything else, if that makes sense. You've got all the crap, the chaos on this side, and it's going crazy, but you're focusing on something, and it's though you're semi-meditational state where you're clearing your thoughts, clearing your mind, but also focusing on something else. That's fucking awesome.
I think it's important to have things like that. I used to swim a lot, and I found that swimming, I guess because you can only breathe, it's a regular breathing pattern because of breathing, every third stroke or whatever it is, that you then sort of access that kind of state. And surfing as well. I like to surf a lot. I think it's important to do something that hooks you into the present, where you just are concentrating on what's right there. I mean, motorbiking as well, when you're flat out, as it were, your concentration is pretty high.
I've only ever ridden a moped, which was my brother's, and it's one of the funniest things ever. Oh, I wasn't expecting how much of an acceleration this thing had, and I'm sat on it, and I've got the brake, I've got the throttle, I've got the brake. I let go, and the fucking thing just went flying, and I'm still holding on to it, but it's gone up this fucking fence, fucking going all over the shop. My brother is literally just on the floor, pissing his pants. What are you doing? I went, I don't know. I've never used one before. So
it's a classic.
God help me if I got onto a normal motorbike. I think I'd probably die, which is why I'm probably never going to do it. But you dabble in a bit of jiu-jitsu as well, don't you? From what I've seen with the Reorg boys.
Yeah, I love jiu-jitsu, but I don't want to be that novice spouting out about the benefits of BJJ. Like, I will say that it has been very beneficial to my life and my brother's life, and essentially
it's another good focus thing to do, and very humbling. I'm similar to you. I've dabbled. I'm not going to say I regularly partake. I dabble in it, and every time I get fucking humbled by someone who is like half my size. I've said it on here loads of times. Like the guy that I train with, he's a purple belt, and he's got to be at least 20, if not 30 kilos lighter than me, but it feels like it's completely the other way around.
Yeah.
And he just fucking destroys me, and I'm like, in real life, I must have been murdered by this guy about 6 times if he had held onto that choke a little bit longer. It's so humbling. But
I remember
every time I finish, I'm like, I need to get back in and do it again. But life gets in the way from time to time.
Yeah. The thing is, we were chatting about this last night, actually. And my he's an intelligent chap. And he was kind of saying, because our body has these inbuilt reward systems. So every now and then, either for survival, for either running away for something or capturing something, we need to have bursts of energy. We need to be able to sprint. Now, in today's sort of in day-to-day life, if someone said, right, sprint from here to there, you're probably going to say, nah, I'll just walk. So it's very hard to self-motivate yourself to like output an intense burst of energy, because essentially we have these primal mechanisms to conserve energy, but at some point we might need to run away from whatever it is. And so we have a reward system, and we get a release of endorphins for doing that. And I think something like jiu-jitsu, it makes you operate at such a intense level, but you don't sort of notice it. So then afterwards, you still getting the endorphin release.
Yeah, I'll get that.
And so you feel really good from it. You've activated that reward system, but you've been so distracted.
You've been distracted
trying to
from
defend a choke.
Trying not to be fucking have your arm snapped off or whatever. Definitely.
And the thing is that your body, as far as your brain is concerned, if someone's getting a choke on you, and they're trying to submit you, as far as your body is concerned, that's happening for real.
Yeah.
So if you then, after that hour or 2 hours, you're still living and breathing, as far as your body is concerned, it's like, yes, we've survived. And so anything else you encounter in that day, it's like, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I've got a tax bill. That doesn't matter. This is nothing. So it puts perspective into your life. And I think as well, it's one of those things where you're in an uncomfortable position. A lot of the time you're in an uncomfortable position, and you have to just come back to yourself and think, what can I do to make this a little bit more bearable? Can I breathe okay? Right, first trying, okay, I can still breathe. I'm okay. Now can I change my position slightly? Can I progress this position? And it's the same with life, in that we'll often be in an uncomfortable situation or position, and just bringing the focus back to the self, like how can I get through this? Like breath work's a big thing as well. But I think jiu-jitsu has a lot of benefits to it. Sam Sheriff, who created Reorg, introduced me to it in 2009 up at 4-5, and I was like, nah, not interested. Every morning I wouldn't be able to move my head, and I didn't understand what it was. And obviously, in hindsight, I wish I'd started. I was 12 years ago.
I didn't dabble in any sort of. I was always a boxer. Boxing was my outlet. If I was going to the gym, I'd always finish off weight session with boxing. That was my cardio. I'd go and beat the fuck out of a bag for an extra 20 minutes. And it wasn't until when we went to Bastion on my last tour, it was like the UFC was starting to get big. People were talking a bit more about jiu-jitsu and things like that. And I dabbled a little bit out there. And when I got home, I joined a MMA gym in Bury St Edmunds, did a bit then. And then before I knew it, I was leaving, and I was moving down to Kent with the missus, and I was like, I need to find something to do. And I just never managed to find one that suited me that was close. I was like, I'm not traveling into London to do it. I could, because it's only 45 minutes away, but nah. And I just sort of dissipated a bit. But it's one of those, I wish I'd done that when I was a kid. Like having some sort of submission game could have worked wonders on nights out when I was getting my head kicked in.
Well, I just read yesterday, and I don't know how true the stat is, but it says 95% of street fights end up on the ground. So that, I think that's a little bit optimistic, but I think definitely having some ground game is essential. And like we could talk jits all day, I think.
You probably could, yeah.
But this is what I mean. I don't want to be this pure novice.
I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. One thing I do want to sort of ask you, because obviously it was a massive stage and a massive thing in your life, and obviously that's Britain's Got Talent. Now, that was obviously, I can't remember what year was it.
It was 2020, so it was as we filmed the auditions in February, and then obviously we went into lockdown. I was going to say,
because you had a crowd, didn't you?
Yeah,
and whatnot. I remember seeing it and going, that's fucking awesome. How did you get yourself like in the right sort? Because you must have had nerves, because you're performing in front of, I don't know how many,
2,000 people.
2,000 people plus. It's going to be streamed on
12 million.
12 million. Just a couple of people watching you perform. Is what it is. You're going to get about 5 people watching this. So, but how did you like focus and get yourself in well, you say game mode, like?
Yeah, it was. I was very out of my comfort zone. To be performing in front of that amount of people, to walk out on stage, and to have, Simon Cowell just judging you, because he's known for being blunt. Yeah. He's seen this. I think this was the 14th show, and obviously they've got America's Got Talent as well.
Yeah.
He's seen a lot of magicians, and part of me was almost like apologetic, like, oh, sorry, Simon, I'm a magician, I'm going to do some magic. I know you hate this, but
yeah, he doesn't like magicians, does he? Yeah, that was one of the things. He said something like that to me. Another magician.
Yeah, so it was very daunting, and I had very little time to prep, so I didn't know that I was going to go on the show. It didn't know how, like, it all happened quite quickly, and I had a call from a guy who said, let's work together on this routine, and he's a magic advisor, and he helped me out, and we sort of created this routine. But he said, he phoned me up on the Tuesday and said, can you come to Blackpool on the Friday? And I said, yeah, that's not a problem. Went over to Blackpool. We're rehearsing through this routine, and I knew that I had to be in Manchester on Wednesday. And he said, well, I said, when I go to Manchester on Wednesday, is that for some mock judges to kind of demo this routine? And he said, no, you're in front of Simon Cowell and 2,000 people, you're performing it. And I was like, oh shit. So the things that, yeah. I did, I visualized going through the routine. Yeah. So I laid out the first part of that was where I gave Simon Cowell my commando dagger. He put it underneath a paper bag. There were 6 paper bags upside down on the table, and the dagger was mounted under one of them. And I had to determine, obviously, which one it was under. And so I ran through this routine with little kind of little containers. They were like little cupcake pots. I got it, and I had them turned upside with a drawing pin under one. And I would lay them out, and I would just visualize that this was the setup. So I guess a visualization process, and going back to the breath work and the meditation, just calming. You can calm your state down, your physical state, through your breath. So anything with your breathing, anything with a longer exhale. So if you inhale for 3 seconds, exhale for 6 seconds, anything with a longer exhale stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest. So I will set a time on my phone for 5 minutes, and I'll just sit there with my eyes closed, and I'll just count 3 seconds inhale, 6 seconds outhale, 6 seconds exhale, pause, 3 seconds inhale, and I'll just go through that and really just try and keep my focus on that counting until the timer goes off. And when the timer goes off, I will feel so much calmer than 5 minutes before. So just doing a breath work like that, the visualization of breath work, and meditation, again, similar to that. I was really nervous when I walked out onto stage. And if you do watch the video, it looks like I just eyeballing Simon Cowell. I'm just focused. I'm almost ignoring the situation I'm in. Yeah. And in my head, I'm just playing through, I'm going to come out here and this is what I'm going to say. And then as the routine went along, the sort of, I don't know if you'd call it, the energy from that crowd is so good. And I really started kind of warming up, and I really enjoyed it. And at the end, I was loving it. And I think a couple of things to remember. Someone had said to my friend, when I was talking to my friend, and he was in a position where he was speaking, and someone had said to him, it's not all about you. You know, we put all this self, a lot of pressure on ourselves. It's not all about you. And you got to think, the 2,000 people there are friends and family of all the other performers. So everyone is there to support the performers. No one's there to, I had it in my head that they're going to, you know, what if I stumble my words? What if I tripped up on stage? What if they edit it to make me look like I'm stupid? Or, you know, I was really worried, because it's an unnatural place to be. If you're standing, like, if you're in a situation where you're standing in front of 2,000 people, it's probably either a very good thing, you're a leader, or it's a very bad thing, you're about to get your head cut off or something like that. You know,
so it's not a natural place to be, especially with
not
that many people.
Yeah.
And considering the act that you did, obviously, with the commando dagger, fucking hell, I remember watching it, and I was with my missus, I'm going, I'm fucking nervous. Like, and I was like, I know he's got it all in his head. And I went, and I know he knows what he's doing. I went, but what if he fucks up?
Yeah. This routine.
That's a dagger through the hand.
Yeah, I wanted to hold like a little metal plate, or I wanted to have some kind of safety device so that if I whacked my hand down on that dagger, I would have some sort of something in place.
Yeah.
But my admin is not the best. I didn't get anything organized. So it was, but Darren Brown did it, and he did it with a screw, and he got the screw stuck in his hand. It went wrong, and he had to have a hand, like a surgeon, remove this screw from his hand. And I'm thinking Darren Brown is the best.
Yeah.
And if he messed it up, then yeah. So it can.
And it's not like you're like sort of pressing down slightly.
But it had to be dramatic, didn't it? So I had to slam that hand down.
I think that was the best thing about the act that you did, was the fact that everybody was literally on the edge of their seat, even if they're not there just to watch you. They're watching all the acts that come on, but they're all like, oh. And I find that with quite a few magic tricks, especially the ones like that are dangerous, and you're like, I can't watch, but I can't not watch. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. But I also like the like you said, the sleight of hand ones. I love all that, because I'm like, how do you do it? It's magic's not. Is it real? It must be real. Are they in a like a magic circle? They're going to Hogwarts or something. But yeah, I love all that. I love it because I can't do it. But I think if I could do it, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. A bit like soldiers watching a war movie. Well, that wouldn't happen. That's it. You know what I mean? But watching that, I'm in awe. I'm in awe with anyone that's got a talent, if I'm honest. Anyone that's got the balls to go on that show as well. Even if especially the ones that are shit. Because you know you're shit, but you've made the effort. You know what I mean? But then you get the crazy ones like Susan Boyle. I remember watching that in the regiment compound in Iraq, when Susan Boyle came out and did a Dreams to Dream or whatever it is, that song. She came out and all of us went, what is this? What is that? She's going to be awful. And then all of a sudden this fucking voice comes out and you're like, we're all literally like Simon Cowell like that. What? But yeah, fucking in awe, mate. In awe of the talent that you've got, to be fair. And the work that you do.
Thank you, mate.
For Rock2Recovery as well. I've seen that you help out at Rock2Recovery doing
it's Rock2Recovery have helped me. They've helped my mates. I think they're a great charity.
And
it was last year. I think last year they asked if I could get involved a little bit more with the events, and I'm happy to do that. And also, I've
been in comms with Charlie for a couple of years now. I put on a charity football match for him. I was going to be the first one to do a proper team sport to raise money for him. And because of COVID, my event got moved to the following year. And in between that space, there was a fucking rugby match. I was like, hang on. I was supposed to be first. But it's always a privilege to do something for a cause like Rock2Recovery, because I know that they help. They're very
hands-on. They're very
that's what I was trying to get.
As soon as there's a lad who's
that's what
really not in a good place, they are straight on it.
I've personally been to some of the bigger, well-known charities, especially when I first got diagnosed with my PTSD and depression and all that, and I was in a shit place. I've just started doing the podcast as my sort of therapy to get me speaking, whether it's just chatting shit about magic or actually talking about my issues. This was my therapy, and I wanted to do a bit more. I wanted to get a bit more guidance, a bit more help. I spoke to a few of these other charities. I won't name them. I have named them before, but I think, fuck it, I'm not going to name them anymore. And they basically said, oh, we'll send you a caseworker. And I was like, cool. That's something. We can get a ball rolling. See if there's any guidance, anything like that. Still waiting for someone to turn up. And this has been like 3-4 years now. And I was like, well,
yeah.
I went and did a few courses with a friend of mine who started a company called Inner Armour, which is now sort of on the downward. It's sort of finished, which is a shame because his techniques are spot on. Worked closely with a few Royal Marines, went to the camps and did some really good work with them. And then because it's not 100% effective, nobody wanted to back him. I was like, this is a shame, because it really is brilliant. But anyway, I saw Rock2Recovery. I've spoken to Charlie, and I was like, you guys are brilliant. Oh, and I'm sort of on my own sort of journey now, my own mend, but I see that you guys put in so much work to help so many. But even whether it's the families of struggling veterans or families of veterans that are struggling themselves because they couldn't cope with their loved ones being on deployment in the past. It's like you guys, and it's not just military veterans either. It's police, fire service. They're just brilliant.
There's a couple of reasons why we sort of, there are a lot of charities out there, and there's a lot of veterans charities and that sort of stuff. And I think it's hard if you're trying to support everyone. And obviously with Rock, so me and my bro, we support Rock and we support Reorg. They're the sort of two charities that we selected. Rock's very hands-on, especially with treatment, and getting, when things are super bad, they're straight in there. And Reorg, the whole thing with Reorg is for guys that have, like me, we've left the military, left that tribe, dispersed back into the country, and then living somewhere lonely and I know what you mean. It's introducing you back into a community, back into a tribe, back into something that's very physical, very primal, and then all the benefits that go along with that. I think that's very important. So I want to spread the word of Reorg and jiu-jitsu. Like every time I travel, everywhere I am, I'm trying to roll. And I'll take, if there's lads that I'm meeting up with who haven't rolled before, I've got spare gi, and I was like, let's go find somewhere, let's have a roll, and introducing them to jiu-jitsu. And then, like I say, Rock is there for when things are bad.
Yeah, there are good charities out there. There are some shit ones out there, but there's
a lot, right? There is a lot of support, and there is a lot of help. But it is really that at some point you've got to just take it on yourself and do the work, and it's very hard getting to that point. And I think probably because of the conditioning from the military, where you're giving your uniform, you're giving your timings, you're giving your scran, and then it's off your own back now, and the ball's in your court, but you've got to put the work in. And sometimes it takes us a little bit of time to realize that no one's coming to help us. Like no one's coming to help you. You've got to do it yourself. It
took me a while to understand that. I was always, I'm fine, I'm okay, and deep down I wasn't. I was in shit state. But whether it's I was too proud, or I think it was more not that I was too proud to say anything. I think it was more scared to say I had a problem, because I was always the strong one in the family. A bit like I was saying earlier, I'm not going to show you any emotion if a friend passes away or a loved one passes away. I'm just going to be stoic and not show any emotion until I've had a drink, and then I'm fucking a mess. But I really struggled. It wasn't, I've said it on here before, and it's in my book. The sort of I had a massive argument with my missus, and we were on a very rocky path, should I say. And it was nothing down to her. It was literally me pushing everyone away. And then my eldest found me in the kitchen on the floor, and I was in bits, fucking tears everywhere. And she literally put her forehead against mine and said, "Daddy, it's fine. I love you. We're going to be fine." And I was like, "Yeah, I've got to do something." And then I think it was 2 days after that, I started the podcast. I pressed record. And then I think it was a few days after that, I was like, no, I need proper help. The podcast isn't going to solve everything quickly. That's when I phoned up and spoke to the doctor. Went and saw them, and they went, you've got severe depression and anxiety. The therapist told me that I had PTSD, which I never thought I could have because I was in the RAF regiment and I wasn't like under severe contacts like the Marines and the Paras and things like that. So I was always that guy that was like, no, I can't have that. I haven't seen someone get their legs blown off. I haven't done this. But I never understood the workings of the mind. Like it didn't have to be that. It could have been anything that happened in my past when I was growing up. It could have been anything. And then all of a sudden it's all come at once. And it was down to me leaving the military. I lost that sense of purpose, that sense of belonging, as they always say.
Yeah.
Being surrounded by my mates. I'm lucky that some very close friends of mine were actually in the same squadron, same regiment as me, and they literally live down the corner. So if I'm ever in real shit state, I could have just phoned them up and said, you fancy a beer? I need a chat. I never did that because, again, too proud, too scared to say to my mates, I'm in shit state.
There's a couple of things, isn't there? There's like, I know loads, the lads look out for the lads, but the last thing I want to do when I'm feeling down is ring one of the lads and start dripping and say that I'm hanging out. So yeah, like I don't say anything. But yeah, I mean, I think the Navy SEALs did a sort of, they had a look at lads, and it was anyone that had been in contact is 100% rate of having PTSD, whether things were showing or not. So I mean, I'm the same. I'm like, yeah, I'm okay, but like I know just from the statistics that there are snags there. Like,
yeah.
You know,
I would never say that I was like really super bad with it, if that makes sense. I was never like I wasn't not getting flashbacks. I'm not jumping out my skin every time there's a fucking car backfire or anything like that. I was mine tend to stem a lot into anger and frustration and being anxious and stressed like all the time. And
yeah,
that would affect my loved ones the most, where like I would be angry like snap of a finger. Like my eldest or my youngest would, bear in mind they would have probably been about 4 and almost a newborn, about 4 and 2 when I first got like sort of diagnosed with it. They would drop a fork on the floor or something, and that was like that. I'm super angry, super aggressive, and it's like, what am I doing? They're kids.
But you're fun to be around.
I was not. Yeah, but like that would be set off like that, and it was like my wife and kids would have to tiptoe around me because it's like I don't know if he's just going to be set off. Like I'm not the most. I'm just a grumpy old man now. You know what I mean? I'm just. I love a laugh and a joke, and I like that sort of thing. And I was always wary of myself. Like, am I going to get like driving? Like I like most men, I get a bit of fucking road rage from time to time. But it was like every time I got in the car, some cunt would like be going 20 mile an hour, and I'll be like, "Why are you going 20?" Like shouting, and the kids would be like, "What's the matter with Dad?" It's like,
you know, my bro said something yesterday. He said, you know, I think it's funny how like anyway, if anyone's driving slower than you, that you know they're an idiot. And if anyone's driving faster, they're a maniac.
That is right. Yeah. It's like it's always that one. Like zooms past. He's probably only going about 35, but he zooms past you, and you're like, well, he's definitely not going 30 mile an hour, is he? It's like, well, no, obviously he's not. He's just overtaking you. I literally did it on the way out. I got some fuel, and I was just dropped my mother-in-law off at work. I was driving home, and on the way into my village, it's a national speed limit road, and these people were going like 30 mile an hour, and I was behind them going, "Why are you going fucking 30?" what are you doing? Go 50. Like, and I was like, I got home and I was like, why am I doing that? There's no need. I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush.
The thing is, right, if you, like, there is absolutely no way that you can change how other people drive, right? So if someone's driving slower, you can't, you know, like, and it's, the only person getting bothered by it is you, you know. So it's, you just gotta, like, you do you, let other people do them. You know, they want to drive slow, and it might add 2 minutes to your journey.
Yeah,
but I will waste 2 minutes.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah.
So it's all, it's I try not to.
I saw a change in myself today. This is a genuine, like, massive change for me. I have time anxiety, so it must have been from the military, because if I'm always early to things. I try never to be late. I'm always try to be that early that I can't be late. And my missus is complete opposite. So she's so laid back with time. Like, she'll give me a time, and then I will start pacing if we're getting close to that time and she's not ready. I turn into a right knob. I'm like, can you fucking hurry up? But this morning we got into the car and we were running a bit late. My eldest has like a maths tutor in the morning, and we were going to be late. So we got in the car. She's supposed to be there at 8, and we got in the car at 8. And for the first time ever, I sat back and went, well, you can't be any later than you're already late. You can't, it doesn't matter. I went, you're already late, so we're late.
Yeah.
And I started driving. I went, I've never said that before. I would try and speed to get there.
What anything caused that change?
Do you know what? I don't even know. I literally, it just, something just sort of sparked this morning. I was like, you're already late. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it, and I was like, I've never done that before. So
no,
that's
a good sign, mate.
Yeah. And like I said, like, time anxiety is always a big thing for me. It literally makes me pace and get nervous and snappy. But yeah, this morning, even during the build-up, I was sort of just waiting. I was flicking through my phone.
Yeah.
Because I knew the girls were just being, well, my youngest was being a pain in the ass. She has to dress as an Egyptian today. It's Egyptian Day, and she hated her outfit.
Oh, right.
And whatever. She was just being a knob. Like, my wife bought her a proper outfit off Amazon, and because the age range was between 7 and 9, she's 8. She was like, it doesn't fit me properly. It's like, well, no, you're not 9, so it's not going to fit perfect. You're not a big 8-year-old either. She was like, oh, it's itchy. So she ended up wearing a white t-shirt, white leggings, and put the little clippy bits that came with the outfit on. She looked pretty cool, to be fair. I thought she looked good. I was like, it's not a fucking contest. But she was like dragging her feet. She was refusing to put her shoes on. I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to let that go today. It's recording day, so I'm in a happy place. Like, you know what I mean? Kids, mate, fucking pain in my ass. Love them to bits, but they are, at times they're a lot like my missus, and at times they're a lot like me. So a lot of the time it's like arguing with a tiny version of myself.
I've just seen my older bro. My older bro's got 3 little girls, and yeah, it's always quite chaotic. I'm like exhausted watching other people parent. Yeah,
it definitely was. Like, they're getting a lot better now. They're getting older. But my eldest does have anxiety as well, and she's now coming into her final year of primary school, so she's got her SATs tests and whatnot. And every time you tell her it's a test, she melts. Like, she can't do it.
Honestly, that breathing technique, a longer exhale, it is awesome. And you could do it for 2 minutes. You could set your time on your phone for 2 minutes. Just close your eyes, 2 minutes, and just concentrate. Just count in for 3, out for 6, and you'll feel better after that 2 minutes.
Yeah,
it's just like there's probably not really much else that you could do. You could literally just do in 2 minutes that has such a positive impact. It's like a reset button.
That's a good idea, actually. I've never really looked into like breathing techniques or meditation and things like that. I've always been very skeptical hippo with that. I'm like,
But there's a guy, the meditation I follow is a guy called Sam Harris, and he's a neuroscientist. And basically saying, look, there's a lot of he's saying there's a lot of benefit in this Eastern philosophy, Eastern beliefs, but it is wrapped up with a lot of other stuff. And he's extracting it. He's, obviously he's a neuroscientist. He's very logical, and he's saying this has a beneficial impact. And like me and my brother, we've been meditating on a regular basis for, let's say, a year and a half, maybe longer now. And we just notice it all the time in day to day. It's like you're almost watching yourself as a different person. And sometimes when I'm low and I love chocolate, I'll be eating chocolate. And it's like watching a dog that's got into the food bag. And I'm aware of it, but I'm watching it happen as well. It's almost this, you've got a little bit of distance from it. So it's a beneficial practice.
It's definitely something I'll pass on to it. I've been trying to do lots of different little techniques that I've learned that helped me. One of them I got off Inner Armour was your best day. So you have to think of your best day. So it starts, what time do you wake up? And a lot of the time people go, I don't know, 8:30, I've got work. And it's like, no, it's your best day. You can do anything. You can wake up anywhere. You can have a lie in if you want. It could be a 42-hour day instead of or whatever. But I did that with her. That works a little bit. And I went and bought her literally a journal. I went, anytime you feel happy or sad or you want to relax before you go to sleep, just jot words down in your diary. She was like, did you do that? And I actually did do that on tour. I used to have a little tour diary. I used to write things in. Most of the time I had bits about people that were annoying me. It's like, so-and-so's a fucking dickhead. Wouldn't get the mail today. Something trivial like that. But I was like, it helps just clear your head a little bit. And the breathing technique is definitely something else I'm going to bring in. I'd love it if I was a bit closer to the sea and things like that, because I'd love to just go into the sea and get a cool dip. We do literally around the corner. There's a lake, and they've got some open water, but lake swims and things like that. I was looking into that.
It's very beneficial to either be in on looking at the water, whether that's a lake, a river, the sea.
It's very peaceful.
So I think, definitely having water. Like I love surfing. I love being.
I mean, a marine liking water is kind of a given.
In the job description, I love getting in ice cold water.
I've seen a few people get the ice bins now. Like,
I've seen that.
Like an actual bin that they've just filled with cold water and ice. And I was like, that's a good idea. But I was looking at my bin and I was like, I don't think I'd fit anymore.
Well, I wouldn't do that, but I've got the River Swale outdoors, and it's so fresh, it's so clean. It's like you're on an adventure when you go running through the woods, cross through the river, and it's a lot more exciting than having a bin full of ice that you're climbing.
Fair, I'm that close to London. I don't think our rivers are very nice.
Nah.
But to be fair, I'm also not very far away from Folkestone, Dover, Margate, so I could pop down there and have a swim in the sea. But I'm also like, it's really cold.
Yeah, dude, it's not that you want to do it. Me and my brother were chatting about this morning. It's not that you want to do it. Like it's not you want to get in the cold water. It's you enjoy the feeling after more than
it's a good recovery thing, isn't it, as well?
Well, I woke up this morning. I ran down through the woods, through the river, back in, and I feel way more better than I would have done if I just got up, had a hot shower, put my clothes on. So it's not that I want, like, no one wants to go running, no one enjoys it, no one wants to get in cold water.
If they do, they're
but
weird.
Yeah, but the feeling from it was like I felt way better than I would have done. Like, what I want to do is stay in bed.
Yeah,
like so it's really this. You've kind of got to mug yourself off a little bit and go, this isn't. And the thing is that our morning routine, it's, you need to see morning light. You need to get the morning light in your eyes right at the very start of the day, because that stops melatonin production. We run off light and temperature. And if you can warm up your body, you just kickstart your circadian rhythm by having and the morning routine can literally be 5 minutes. It can be outside, back in, and you've got that morning light, you've warmed up the core. And that's it. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, but it's like trying to have the most optimal way of starting the day.
Sounds fucking awesome. To be fair, I'm super lazy in the morning, as you probably understand.
Everyone's super lazy because we have this primal desire to conserve energy.
Yeah, and I definitely need a kickstart in the morning. I when I'm on regular human work, I'm up at 5:30, and I start work at 6. So during the summer months, it's all right. Like, the sun's starting to come up as I'm going into work. It's just it's the fucking winter ones where it's dark when I start work, dark when I come home from work. It's grey and raining. Summertime, it's nice. It's like, I'm gonna get out. Especially I sort of swap and change between working in my office and walking around the site that I manage. So it's, during the summer, it's definitely less in the office, more around the site, which is beneficial, because I know exactly how bad it is when you're cooped up in an office. And even going back to when I was in Bastion, I was in the command center, was my final tour. They wanted to keep me a bit safer, so I was on HQ flight because I had already put my papers in to leave. So I was on HQ. I was in the comms ops, but it was a massive version of this shed with no fucking windows, no light, and even if you went out to the toilet, it was like, fucking, that's fucking bright. And I really struggled a lot. Like, every now and then I'd get severe migraines and all sorts. It was like, you need to have some sort of. I was in there for like 12 hours a day. Occasionally get to go out to the toilet, or if I was asked to go and get the meals for the ops room, I would go and do that. It's like that's I actually enjoyed doing that because I could get out of this fucking hot box.
Yeah.
But towards like the middle, towards the end, they started delivering them to us. So someone would drive in with the fucking meals, and it's like, this is annoying. That was my time to get out. Horrible. But so I remember leaving. I'd have to, like, even early in the morning, if I was doing the night round, I'd have to put me glasses on to walk anywhere, like my sunglasses, because my eyes just weren't used to any sort of natural light.
Nah, it's not a good working environment. You need to be getting outdoors as much as you can, and whether that's if you're working in an office, but you can just, on your break, you can just get outside.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I think the way. I mean, it's good. There's been benefits from the lockdown with people working from home. I don't like the sort of office working environment.
No.
But I think we end up putting ourselves in such a detrimental position because you're sitting on a screen for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. But then when you have a break, you're sitting on your phone, scrolling through Instagram. And it's the brain cannot differentiate between when you're working and when you're sitting looking at that screen. And I think in sort of today's society, we've lost these times where times to be bored, and that's where the brain can kind of have a break and chill. Because otherwise we end up pushing ourselves into burnout, because we're on screens all the time. We're not taking a break from it. We're not allowing our minds to have a rest. And it's the level up. We're keeping ourselves in this sustained level of stress, and then we're hitting burnout. It's not a healthy place to be.
On, mate. Spot on. So you go from sitting behind a screen looking at your computer, you have your break, you're looking at your phone, and you go back in, and so on and repeat. Then
you go home and watch Netflix.
Yeah, then you go home and sit and watch the telly for another 4 hours or whatever it is, or play the Xbox. Now that is a dangerous thing, the Xbox. Like, if you're on a game, like I've completed now the Assassin's Creed Vikings. I even got the 2 expansion packs.
It sounds good. If I was into games, that's definitely that sounds like the sort of game I'd want to be playing.
It was
I've never had a games console. I don't have a TV.
You're my spirit animal. I need to be more. This game, mate. Seriously, you can go from being an actual, like, a proper Viking where you're just smashing people up for fun, or you can go full Assassin's Creed and like be sneaky and go on the roofs and assassinate people, which is brilliant. But like you said, with your cars, even with the Xbox, you can get into some sort of flow state on there where you don't realize you've been playing it for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And you're like, shit, I was supposed to go to the gym, but I've been fucking beating up Ivar Ragnarsson.
It's easy to let time run away, and it's I think you got to just. So what I've just written down, like, I notice it gets to the end of the day and I've not done the things I wanted to do, but just kind of being, as Tim Ferriss would say, micro ambitious, and just literally choosing 2 things that I want to get done today. Yeah, just 2 things I want to do for me, and then 2 things that I need to get done. 2 bits of admin. And then anything on top of that is a bonus. But if I prioritize those and get those in the bag, then it doesn't matter what I do with the rest of the time. Yeah, I think it's always very easy to I mean, like that's to start a game, and then you take up that time, and then you're missing the things that you should, you sort of need to, and you need to get the gym in first, but you don't want to because you're tired. Yeah, and it's like, oh, this ain't fun. I don't want to go to the gym. I've had a big struggle trying to get myself back into the gym. I kind of fell out. I basically injured my elbows last year, and it just put me off lifting. And so we always want to do things the best we can, in that we have this all or nothing mentality. Yeah. And I've had this idea that it'd be nice to run to the gym, do my training, run back. But I had to just literally cut out everything and make getting me to the gym as easy as possible. Yeah. Have a coffee, eat a chocolate bar, drive to the gym, get in the gym and do 10 reps or something, and then well done, and leave. Just to start building, that consistency over intensity. Get the consistency in place first. Right, I'm going back to the gym on a regular basis. Now we can start building the routines. Then we can look at maybe running to the gym. But I think if you look at what you want to get done, and all the focus is on making that as easy as possible, and it's this all or nothing mentality of, like, if someone wants to get into running, like, they think they have to go for a 30-minute run. Yeah, you can literally just go for a 2-minute run. I'm like that. I'm like that. I will say, right, I need to go. I'm going to go for a run, and then I'll do a little bit around this, like I said, around my site, and then I look at it and I'm like, I've only done like 2K. But 2K is better than nothing. Yeah, exactly. But in my head, I'm like, I've only done 2K instead of going, I've done more than no K. Yeah. And the same goes with, like you said, with the gym. Sometimes I have to make myself go. Sometimes I really want to go, and then I have a really good workout. But it's the days where I'm like, I can't really be bothered. Like, it's so easy. If on my days off, I occasionally, like I said, drive my mother-in-law to her work. So where she works is actually where my gym is. So in theory, I could drop her off, go to the gym, then go home. Yeah. But in my head, I'm like, I'll drop her off, I'll go home, have some breakfast, and then I'll come back. And then next thing I know, it's like 1 o'clock, and I'm like, I probably should go to the gym. Yeah. I'm
detrimental.
But because it's like we put so much pressure on ourselves. Like you know, it's like, well, if I go back and have something to eat, then I can go do an hour in the gym and I can do a proper good session. Whereas really, what would be better is drop the mother-in-law off, go in the gym for 10 minutes, and then leave, and then that's at least whether you go back to the gym after you've had something to eat and do a proper workout or not, at least you've done something, and something's better than doing nothing.
Yeah, definitely. So before we finish off, because I don't want to take up any more of your time, I've got to quickly say that we actually have a common friend in Ben Johnson, who I believe served with you in the Marines. And he said you guys used to have like little arguments about who had the better dress sense and who was the most essence. I told him I'd bring that up.
He had the better dress sense than me. I think it was Ben that kind of taught me about, obviously not this is my mate's t-shirt. Jumper. Ben, I remember buying my first diesel t-shirt because of Ben, and I was like, okay, fashion's a thing.
Which is strange because he's from Hereford and we're all backwards in Hereford. The fashion game doesn't really exist.
Well, mine was non-existent, but that was more because I'm a tight Yorkshireman and being fashionable is expensive. So I think Ben had better dress sense than me, I'd say, but I think that's as far as it went.
I don't. He sent me a message. This is when you were supposed to come on the first time. And he said, "Oh, I hear you've got gym coming on. You have to bring this up." So I promised him I'd bring it up, and I have done that. So there we go, winning. What have you got planned for the rest of the day, big man?
So me and my little bro, we do these motorbike trips where we're combining our passions of magic and history and living on the motorbikes. Essentially ride from one location to another location along the way, telling the history of who's been there before us, and then performing magic to the people we meet. And we're prepping. We're off to Greece on Monday, so we're prepping for that trip now, and we've been invited on a TV show. So we've got a thing in Manchester on Sunday. So things are looking like they're going to ramp up a little bit, which is awesome. And we just need to start getting these adventure documentaries edited so we can push them out. And awesome. in them, it's sort of spreading the word, raising awareness, raising money for Rock2Recovery and Reorg with the motorbike awesome. Adventures.
That's awesome.
So prep for that.
You better do some prep for that. Have a good one, mate. Genuinely.
Thank you.
As always, it's been my honor, my privilege to have you on. It's been a brilliant chat. I could literally chat for longer, but Mrs. is.
What have you got for the rest of the day?
I've got to take the girls for an eye test, and then they've got gymnastics later, so I'll be taking them to gymnastics, and hopefully I can get myself to the gym properly and break another punch bag like I did last night because I'm so powerful.
Yeah, nice. I've seen that. Yeah.
I hit it and it snapped, and I looked around. There was a couple of girls in there that looked a bit shocked, and I was like thinking to myself,
looked impressed. They looked impressed.
Like, yeah, I was like, I'm fucking powerful. You know I'm powerful,
mate. Well, thank you for having me on. And what I'd say is, like, after this, when we close down, just do 2 minutes of the breathing, just give it a go and let me know what you think.
We'll do. I'll let you know. And I'll pass on to my eldest as well, because I'm sure she'll do it.
Hopefully it can be of benefit.
Yeah. James, cheers very much. Cheers very much. Not the best way to start.
Cheers very much.
Cheers very much. For having me on. I'll catch you in a bit. Enjoy the rest of your day, mate. Cheers.
Thank you.